Hi, folks. It's Julie Henricus. I'm the Executive Director of Sisters in Crime. Really to be here and to be doing a live today. I'm kind of excited about what we're going to be doing. So Sisters in Crime is a fabulous writing organization, primarily focusing on crime writers, but all writers are welcome. And we've been around for over almost 40 years. And so we're celebrating our 40th anniversary now. And we have decided that we're going to do Instagram Lives on Tuesdays. So right now we're doing a January Jumpstart, which basically is 5 write-ins a day for the entire month of January. And then lives and live sprints and everything else like that to support people to sort of start the new year off right. And it's open to non-members as well as members. Most of our epic sprints like this are members only, but we're making it for non-members as well so that you can get to know us and do some stuff. Tonight, I want to remind folks that there's a fabulous webinar that Mia Piman and Sala is going to be doing about mindset for the new year and a great writing mindset. And I'm super excited about that as well. I'm going to be hosting it. But these Instagrams lives on Tuesday afternoons, Eastern time. We're in a lot of different time zones, so I want to make that clear. We're going to be bringing people on so that we can have conversations. And first conversation that I wanted to have is about supporting artists. And let me sort of give you a little bit of a caveat, and then I'm going to invite our special guest on who can have a conversation. These are dark times, and these are challenging times for sure. But there are artists who have been working on things that are happening, and they don't not happen. So there are theaters that are producing plays. There are dancers who have concerts. There are musicians who have concerts. There are galleries that have exhibitions opening. And there are authors who have books being released. And so how do you navigate that? That's a tricky thing to navigate, Well, we happen to have the fabulous Yasmin Angoe, who is a board member of Sisters in Crime. She's one of the member liaisons. She's also a multi-published author whose most recent book came out on January 1st. So let me get her on here. Talk about supporting artists and supporting each other during challenging times. Yasmin, how are you?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You sounded good a minute ago. You sound so official and like professional and stuff. Man.
I'm old. I've been doing it for a while. I'm also trying to clamp the cat down so she doesn't go diving in towards the camera and everything goes all askew. So we were talking about, and I think in general, it's a great conversation of how to support authors, is always a great conversation, but it's a balancing act to sort of say, it's always a balancing act, buy my book or buy my tickets or come see me or do this. But also, when life is challenging and there's a lot going on, you want to balance that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and you do talk to us about, you've got it in the background, but tell us the title of your most recent book.
So the title of the most recent book that I have out that just came out the first of this month is Behind These Four Walls. It is an adult thriller, and it's a good thing to get your mind off of stuff when you want to get your mind off of stuff for a minute.
Yes, and that's one of the many gifts of the arts, is that it can be a respite from life. It can also be a way to process things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You read things and you process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it can also be a way of being in community. And writing, even though it's a solitary act, community is necessary for writers. And that's why Sisters in
Absolutely.
Crime or another writing organization is critical, no matter where you are in your writing journey, to find an organization that sort of supports you.
Mhm.
And then find your reading community as well, right?
Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree with you. I think if I didn't have Sisters in Crime or SinC, and as a group, as a place where I can just like learn all these things and communicate with everyone else, have this community, I don't know where I would be. Because you're right, it is a very solitary thing to write. I'm here in my office right now. I'm all by myself, and it's very easy to just kind of just be in my own world and like not know what's going on and then start to like really feel bad about certain things. So definitely having a community, especially in times like these where there's so much like unknown going on and so much chaos going on, being able to still have some norms that you do, and to still celebrate the things that you're doing and celebrate the things that other authors and everything are doing is a great way, at least for me, to combat all of the bad and the down that I keep hearing. Because if not, you can doom scroll and you can hear that all the time, right? And so I think you have to have a good balance.
And as a reminder for folks, when somebody's book is released on January 1st, this isn't like a 2-minute decision. This was, back it up, 3 years ago, you write the book, you get it edited, it gets in the pipeline, and that's the date chosen. And,
Mhm.
those first few days of a release are super important. So even as you're looking at social media and doing things, hitting a like and a share on
Mhm.
somebody's good book news is a nice passive way of supporting authors. But authors on social media, Yasmin, I know it's a balancing act, right? Of like, what am I posting and how am I phrasing and where am I going, right?
Right, very much so. I mean, I'm not one to like post a whole lot. I like to be pretty intentional and pretty authentic about like whatever I'm posting. So, you won't see like a huge influx of things from me per day. You might see a little bit more from me when it's around release time because I, as well as everyone else, has a job to do. And so I think that that's something that, people who aren't, writing or whatever can think of when you see, authors saying, hey, there's this book out, whatever, don't just think that they're hawking their wares, right? They're still, that's their job. Just like, Walmart still is working open and, you see the commercials of, all these things are still going on, right? The Golden Globe still went on, right? Because things still happen, life still has to happen, in spite of all the other things that are going on. So yeah, it's a lot of work that has built up to that moment, and unfortunately other things happen at that moment, and so then you just have to kind of figure out, you have to read the room and kind of figure out, is this the best day to put out this particular piece of graphic design, or this like dance video. I might not throw a dance video out, or whatever, but like, just little things to remind that, hey, when you feel like, it's too much and you want to get lost in another world, then, please pick up my book. I had someone message me on Threads and say that very same thing, that like my book got her through like all the stuff that was going on, and that felt so great to me to hear that, because that's absolutely what I would want for someone to use that as a way to like get out of the reality that we're in and into someone else's mess of a reality in a fake book.
Right. And a thriller, like what you've written, is a page turner. So it's going to keep you engrossed and keep you reading, which is also super important. But as you mentioned, reading the room's very important. So just I'll put my marketing hat on for a second. Scheduling posts right now is
Mhm.
dicey. You may. look at your schedule posts and take them down and then post them, with different times or different intentions, or just be really, really careful about of timing and tone.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what you said. But just the schedule post, because we all try to do that, it gets you
Yeah.
ahead of things, but
Yeah.
that can also be tone deaf.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I've never actually scheduled posts because I'm just terrified of it. I'm not that technology savvy and stuff. And so I just know that if I schedule posts, like all the wrong things are going to go, on at all the wrong time. And then it's just going to be a big old, like, cluster. And so that scares me. So, and that might be very old school of me. But yeah, definitely, if you haven't thought of that, and you've got a bunch of stuff scheduled, go and check that schedule and, and make sure that that's what you want coming out at that certain time. And maybe you can like push some things back. Maybe you can create something else that's a little bit more in tune with what's going on. Where you're being a little bit more demure in trying to talk about, what you have going on and what you're offering everyone.
This is all such great advice, but I also think we would be remiss if we didn't take advantage of this opportunity to talk about other ways to support authors. And authors support each other. I think this is true, but the crime writing community, and that's where we both are, is particularly supportive and kind. And I've often said, I think it's because we're working out a lot of aggressions.
Yeah.
When you're writing,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, it's I feel better. Let me be nice to people. But one of the things is that you can do is go to events online or in person. And if you're early on in your career and you want to be a writer, a published author, show up at other, like, pay it forward. Show up at events.
I mean, definitely authors love to see people at our events, and sometimes that could be an issue. But I know when I was definitely before I was agented, and definitely before publishing, I was going to any event that I could attend, mostly virtual because where I am, we didn't have very many, and a lot of them are for free. So you can just go. It's whether it's a craft event, whether it's a book launch for someone, whether they're just having a conversation, so it's a panel. I just totally wanted to be immersed in everything, publishing world and literature, and so. I enjoyed those and attended those, and I would definitely suggest that anyone who's out there and thinking about writing or in the first just starting to definitely go, and that's how you can even like create your community, and finding those writing and reading communities that are the physical ones that are around your area are also very helpful. Being around people who are like-minded in terms of we're all writing, and so we're all going through these things. I think it's a great way to kind of get yourself back on the horse if you've been off the horse, or if you're not feeling creative because of all the things that are going on. Sometimes we need a little push, to get writing. And if we just, we had our meeting yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And someone mentioned, oh, some people just may not be able to write. And that's okay too. If you're just not able to write, you could still be in the area of those who are writing and help them out with maybe some questions that they have. And hopefully you'll get back to feeling like I can be creative again. But like all of those things are okay so long as you're still immersing yourself in the thing that you love.
Yeah, and meeting people, just talking to the other people in the room, and
Mhm.
it's a fabulous way. And again, authors love having people show up at events, whether it's a bookstore or a library or anywhere else. And
Mhm.
every author I know has a story about the time one person showed up or two people showed up, and
Or nobody showed up.
or nobody showed up. So you would be amazed at truly what an impact you can have on people by showing up.
For real, you really can be. So, I mean, just do it. I mean, I think you'll be better for it for sure. And the author will be too, because they will be very appreciative.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, especially debuts. I mean, well, everybody, but especially debuts. It's such a kindness. Another way to support authors is to leave reviews.
Hmm.
Um, like on Goodreads, on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, wherever you can. But again, I feel like I'm being the school marm here, but never tag an author on a bad review of their book. I see that people do that, and it's like, what are you doing?
I,
Why
I
would you
don't
tag somebody? Because
know it. I don't know.
it's not everything's for everybody.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, I think is a terrible way to talk about creative endeavors because it's it and also you may read something at one point in your life and then read it 6 months later and it has a completely different impact on you. So
Mhm.
if you don't like something, bless you, but don't ever tell the author. Why would these are human beings who've spent years working on this thing that you read in 3 hours? What are you doing?
Right, right. I find it funny, and some of us we talk about it. We're like, when we get those email, and luckily I haven't been tagged in anything, or if I am tagged in something, I probably have not read it because I try to stay far, far away from reviews, whether they're good or bad. If someone tags me, I'm not reading it. I'm just saying thanks, and then that's it. I'm out of that because I know what it can do to me, and I wouldn't want to do that to someone else either. And so it is beyond me why you would tag someone, especially if you have criticized their work. It's not like they can go fix that work, because it's out there in the world, and it does something to that person. And then I also think about, like, what if we went to your job and just started criticizing you? It does, so for some reason I guess people feel like authors, they have a right, or it's a free for all. We can just go and tell them whatever, but they forget that there's a human there, a human who has spent, like you said, years, so much time trying to craft this story for someone. And not every story is for everyone, and that's okay if that story wasn't for you. And so even books that I don't like, I don't give, me myself personally, and I'm not a book reviewer, so I'm not going to give a bad review, but I'm not going to go around and blast it, not even to my friends, because what I don't care for might be something someone else cares for, and vice versa. So I don't go with that. I'll still read a thing if I'm interested.
Right. Right. I think that that's such a an important thing. I never read reviews. And I have actor friends who never read reviews because it can be so devastating. So you cannot like something. That's not what we're saying.
Mhm.
You do you, but never tag an author.
Never tag an author. And then if you do tag the author and then the author, says something, let's not get mad because, the
Yeah.
author has said something, because you have, you have brought them into your space, and have engaged them in a way. And so hopefully they wouldn't, hopefully they would let that slide off their back. But, like someone has, written down there, it's a special kind of horror, really, for sure. Nobody wants to have bad things said. And it's not even where they're saying, oh, well, I dislike something. It's very simple. Sometimes people really go in and they, they're kind of rude and nasty, about the way how they're talking about the review, what they're saying in the review. And that's the stuff that I don't get. I'm just like, well, are they trying to be nasty, or are they really trying to give like a thoughtful review of the things that worked and the things that didn't, and why? Or are you just trying to be nasty? Because in these days, a lot of people just go on, social, to just be nasty for whatever reason. But yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's support artists. I mean,
Let's support.
don't have keyboard courage to be a troll.
Exactly. People
Right?
curse.
Hmm. Another way that you can support writers and authors is ask your library to order their books. I mean, obviously selling books is great, but
Hmm.
not everyone can buy books, and there's a lot of other ways of getting books. But you can ask your library to order a book, and they'll do it, and that also helps build up the buzz, and maybe other libraries will understand and things like that. That can be an exciting thing for authors as well.
Yeah, definitely. Have them. I love it. Like when I go to the library, and especially if it's a library that, I was where if I'm in Virginia and I go to a library and I see one of my books there, I get very like emotional because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a library. When I was like, in high school, I would come here and all this other stuff, middle school, and now they have my books. There's such a great feeling. But yes, it's such a great way to get the book to everyone who, might not be able to purchase the book. Have them order it. And that helps the author too. That also helps when the library happens to do an event. And they start to, think about that author, inviting that author, and then now that author might be in your town, and you can go see that author and hear them talk about the books and all these other things. So definitely utilize your libraries. Your libraries are great. They're happy to make those orders for you. You just have to ask them.
And Sisters in Crime, we love libraries and we love bookstores. And we even have grants for each. But if you're on the Sisters in Crime website and you go to the last tab and you click on it down, we have two things that can help you figure out, what books are coming out or look for an author. So we have an author search that anyone can use where you can search on somebody's name, like you can search on Yasmin's name, and you're going to see her series that she's written, her standalones that she's written. If she's written short stories, they're all going to be in there so you can find them. You can also look for people in regions. So if you want to have an event, you could say who lives where or what's going on. So you could pull together an event. So this is a nice opportunity for booksellers and librarians as well. But we also have an upcoming releases file. So, and again, our members need to put their stuff in there. So if they haven't, it's not going to be there. But you can say what books came out in January 2026 on the upcoming releases, and then have that list and just sort of know what you're looking for, know how to support, or, oh gosh, that looks interesting. We're just trying to make it easier for you to find things. So many Sisters in Crime members. So far, Yasmin's only got one name, but so many people write under two or three different names, or they write
Hmm.
different genres, or they write mashups, or they do different things. And so that can also be fun, is to say, oh, she also writes this and she wrote that. And that's an interesting thing as well.
Yep.
Um, the other thing that you can do, and Yasmin and I talked about this list, but when you want to be published and you get the no's, and we can both talk about no's, and let's actually put a pin in that because let's have a little bit of conversation about that. It is invaluable to you as a person to be happy for other people,
Mhm.
to never say, "Oh, that was terrible," and then why isn't it my turn? And that always be happy because that's paying it forward. And
Mhm.
trust me, when it's your turn, everyone's going to show up because you've been showing up for them.
Mhm.
And that's the magic of being part of community, is like just be happy for people. This is so much better for you than being miserable.
Yep. No, you're right. Is there a saying that kind of says something like jealousy is the thief of joy or something like that? Envy, jealousy, whatever. Or comparison is what it is. But like I totally agree. When I hear wonderful things or read wonderful things on social or hear it from my friends or whatever, I'm like truly happy for them and want to celebrate them because that it's so hard in this world to to achieve these things. And so when you achieve it, you have to celebrate it. You have to be totally happy, for that person. and eventually things will come your way as well, and you want that kind of pure happiness and joy to be reciprocated to you. I really have more fun when I'm celebrating other people and
Yeah.
like lifting them up and supporting them and making them feel really great about like all the accomplishments that they made, because I want everyone. I mean, I think I'm an empath, so I always want everyone to feel great, even if it's at my detriment or whatever. But like that just brings me joy, is to see other people like with joy. So I'll be on social and it'll be all these things that are going on, and people are like posting pictures of their brand new babies, and I'm just celebrating with them and happy that they had their baby. And I mean, it could be anything, some everything. And I'm so glad that people are posting all of those things, right? Because we were talking about doing these things that make us happy even in all of the dark, right? And so it makes me happy to see all of these other people having these things happen in their lives. And so when we're getting the book deals, I've seen those, and we're getting, big promo spots, and we're getting like, best of list and things like that. The NAACP Image Awards just came out, the nominations, and so happy. Like a lot of people that I'm familiar with are on our nominees, and so like those are wonderful things that we can celebrate, and celebrate wholeheartedly, because it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. Um, I asked you to put a pin in something because I just want to bring up, you please go to our podcast and listen to Yasmin's interview, which was a long time ago. I mean, I
It
think
was.
I think the books, your first book was just coming out, but
Okay.
you were talking about the journey and how you almost give up at times,
Yeah,
but then
I
you
sure
keep
did. But
through.
someone kept me in, and she just popped into our live, Kelly Garrett. She's the one I tell everyone. If it wasn't for her, because I really was truly about to quit, because I was getting rejection after rejection. I was probably up to nearly 100 rejections by the time she was like, hey, why don't you apply for the Eleanor Taylor Bland Award from Sisters in Crime? And I was like, what is that? And she kind of gave me a little bit, and she was like, go look it up, because that's what she'll say, go look it up, and all this other stuff. And so, I looked it up, and I was like, well, fine, I guess I will. I'm not going to win, because I rarely win anything anyway. And so I did. It was, it's the Eleanor Taylor Bland Award for Emerging Writers of Color. And so that was back in was 2020, I think. And I just really didn't think I was going to win, because I was really in a bad place. But I applied for it. I turned in my 3 chapters. That was the requirement. Then forgot all around it. Oh, Kelly, hush. She said I was right and you were wrong. but I turned it in, and then like I really forgot about it. And so it wasn't until I think maybe May, so a few weeks later, that I just happened to like go through my email, and I saw something that said you're a winner. And I thought it was spam and was about to throw it away, because we get those emails all the time. And then I saw like Sisters in Crime, and I was like, wait a minute. And so when I actually opened it, then I saw that like I won the thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. And so winning that, and then right after I won that, well, right before I won that, then I finally got the call from an agent after all that time. So everything happened in very quick succession. But it was really winning that kind of just catapulted things for me. And the timing was just right, and like when it's your time, then it's your time. And yes, Kelly was right after all by saying, just go ahead and apply for this thing. Because if I hadn't, I don't know necessarily that I would be where I am right now, because it was such a great thing, and it's such a great honor to have. And so Sisters in Crime, I joined right after that, because I was like, this organization really helped me out, and I want to pay it back and do the same thing. And so I've been in Sisters in Crime since then, and now on the board, and always trying to get new members. And so we really have to push for everyone who watches, this video, that the members, you don't have to only write crime and thrillers and mystery to be a member. It is for everyone. And even though it says Sisters in Crime, it's for sisters, misters, and everyone else. Whatever it is that you are, it's for everyone. And it is a great community because we are very supportive. We have a whole lot of resources to provide from in every stage that you are, even if you are someone who has like 25 books out and you're, an expert. We still have community for you because we all have to learn something new in this day and age. So it was definitely one of the best things that happened in my life. Sorry that I was so long-winded, but when you get me on that, I just got to tell the story.
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad that you told the story. So, a couple of things I want to just highlight. Even if you're just whispering in your head, I want to write a book,
Mm-hmm.
find Sisters in Crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't have to have a contract. You don't have to be published. You don't even have to have the book finished
Nope.
because there's all stages of your writing journey that you'll be supported. So we've got people at the very beginning. We've got multi-published authors who you all would recognize as names. Um, and the other thing is the Eleanor Taylor Bland Award opens for submissions on February 1st and it closes on March 31st. So if you're an emerging crime writer of color, please put a date and remember that date. Again, you don't have to be a member of Sisters in Crime to enter. And sometimes it's just the getting it together to enter, right? Getting that piece polished enough and writing your letter of intent and all the rest of it that is putting it out into the universe of I'm serious about this. I want some support.
Yes, yes. And you have to take the first step for you because, no one else will. And so really like do something for you if this has been your dream. Like writing has been my dream for all my life since I was, a little kid. And I had to take a 20-year detour before I came back to it. So when I say you can do the thing, like I mean it because I've lived it. You can definitely do the thing, and you can be published, for your first time as a second career because I, was a teacher first and in midlife or whatever. Like you don't have to be a 20 something year old superstar. You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to be someone with a whole lot of degrees that is gonna like do you just have to be you, and you have to take a little have a little courage and like bet on yourself that you can do this thing. And if you really really want it, I honestly think that it'll happen.
Yes, and such great advice. Like if it's on your bucket list, let us help you check it off. I mean, writing and
Yes.
publishing are two different journeys, but it's writing for its own sake is very hard work, but it's also rewarding, right?
Mhm. Very much so. Very much so.
Of course, talk to her when her next book is due in about 3 weeks before.
It is very hard. I'm crying. I'm on the floor, all curled up, and wondering why I did this. Maybe I want to go back to the classroom. The answer is no. I do not want to go back to the classroom.
But this is the other reason we want to celebrate authors and when they have a book out because they have been crying on the floor in a fetal position at some point during this process, and yet they kept going and they got it done. And there's something that you can read or listen to, however you enjoy your books. So Yasmin, this has been a great conversation. I hope other folks have been enjoying it.
Mhm.
And join Sisters in Crime if you're a writer. Follow Yasmin Ango. Read her new book, and yeah, and find the joy, friends. Find the joy and spread it. Right.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
All right. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.